All right, back with another segment of Wet Your Palate. You got me, Joe Wagner, co-host.
I could have sworn you said wet your palate. You said,
wet your palate.
Okay, wet your palate.
This is a little taste, just a little taste.
Okay.
And we've got, of course, great entrance. That was awesome.
Right. Sorry.
No, that was perfect because that kind of goes through what the Go With Your Palate podcast was like. So we got Carrot Top today. Of all people, we're here in beautiful Las Vegas.
Yes.
He's going on 20 years of a residency at the Luxor, and he's got tons of stories.
Yeah.
Tons of life lived. The doctorate of comedy.
The doctor of comedy. I love that.
Yeah. I love that.
I would have worn pants if I'd known we were filming this.
Oh, man.
Stay tuned.
Have you ever worn a tie?
Yes.
Okay, I hate ties.
No, I've only worn them for like one. I actually got into. This is kind of funny. There was a thing here in Las Vegas, and they said you have to come in black tie, full on. You have to wear a tie and everything. So I'm an idiot. So I had a pair of jeans, and I sewed a tie on my jeans, and I went to the thing, and all these. Everyone was in black tie and suits and ties. And the president of MGM, like the guy, walked over and said, "Oh, I like that you wore a tie." And I said, "No, I did." And he lost his mind. He's like, "You did wear a tie. It was just, just a necktie tied on my, sewed on." And I thought so. Now every time I've invited somewhere, I have to wear a tie. I wear those jeans, and people are like, "Yeah." I
like that though, because that is so.
You got to use your mind, right?
Yeah,
they said you got to wear a tie. They didn't say wear.
Hell yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure having you. If you guys enjoy great comedy, great stories, great life lessons, you're going to want to watch this episode.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace.
Oh, dude.
I do that. It's like you do the gang sign thing.
Hey, I got a little swagger to it.
Yeah, you gotta go.
I gotta tilt it a little
you
bit.
do.
Right?
Yeah, you don't do this. You go. Yeah, here you go.
We had dinner at Tao.
Yeah, Tao, very nice.
They got good food.
Yeah,
I like diversity.
I like those tacos, man.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Well, they only give you one, so. Rachel was there. I wasn't trying to share a taco with you at Tao's table with all these people around.
You should have. You should have done one of the,
Yeah, we could have done Lady in the Tramp.
Yeah, start on one side.
Actually, these guys split a whole plate of pad thai. So they should have done the Lady in the Tramp thing, but man, this plate of pad thai was like, it was like 4 or 5 servings. I was like, oh shit.
That happened to me. I was at the Super Bowl. I never get to go to a Super Bowl in my world in life. But it was in Vegas, and I'm there in one of the boxes, and the camera zooms in on me eating a hot dog. It's like my phone's blowing. It's like my phone's blowing up. Like, dude, doing Super Bowl. And I look, and I'm like, what the fuck? And they just have me going like this. It was like, no cool way to eat a hot dog. Just immediately, like, okay, nice cocksucker. Now, okay, it's a hot dog.
I mean, God, that's something.
If I'd known I would have done it this way. Yeah. But you don't know they're zooming in on you.
Like cradle.
Yeah, we were like that.
Cradling
with the hot dog.
Oh, my friend, it was like, nice shot. I'm like, dude.
So how often does that happen? Because like you are a level of celebrity where people know you. Instead of taking a normal picture,
nice picture of me. Right.
They're like, wait for it. Wait for it.
Taking a bite of the coleslaw. No, they want to whip them up.
Wait till he gets it in his mouth. Right, he's cradling the base.
Right.
It's just a hot dog.
Make sure he's cupping it nicely.
So does that happen like on a regular?
A lot. Yeah, because I think when people go to, especially in LA, if you go out to whatever, the paparazzis, they say, well, they'll be out there and they always get the worst, they don't get you a shot like, hey, you look at them and you're like, right on. They get you, getting out of the car and pulling your pants up or doing something and grabbing, it's, you're just like this, and that's the one they use. Carrot Top looks like shit. I'm like, well, okay, thanks for taking a nice picture.
And then they turn it into a meme, and then it's
then it's a meme. And yes, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Well, I mean, as like being a prop comic, like you could have fun with that and actually just stage yourself.
Yeah.
To like add even more flavor and grandiosity to it.
Yeah, it's just you never know when they're going to be there. They're always out there.
Did you realize when you first got into this and you started like in the 80s and really saw your progress grow into the 90s? Did you ever reach a point where you were like, I don't know that I want the fame?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think I didn't get into this job for that at all.
Yeah,
I just loved the idea of comedy as a craft. I had no idea that you could even become like famous. I didn't know what that meant, you just would do it. All of a sudden, you do a TV show, and then you go walk on the beach, and someone's like, "Hey, you're the guy that was on the." Oh, okay, it's kind of cool. And then after a while, then you're kind of like, okay, now I think I'm known.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not something when young kids always will say to me, "I want to be famous." I'm like, "What the hell is that? You know, be famous?
Yeah.
For what? Like to be famous, to be known, to be recognized? That's kind of stupid, right?" So what you want to do to be famous is different. You want to be a comedian, a singer, an architect. Anybody can be famous.
Yeah. That's a good point. And I still hear that from the youth. Like I want to be famous, and like it's got to be for something, and you got to be willing to put your life out there, right?
Right. And you want to be into it. I mean, I loved comedy, and I still do. So I think I still do it. I love the art. I love the craft of building a new idea, or a joke, or a prop, or a routine. It's the most magical part of the whole thing.
Well, I'm sure you've said it thousands, maybe even millions of times. Like, at what point in your life did you just decide you're like, I'm going to dedicate myself to this craft? I love doing it. I love making people happy.
It was pretty early on. I mean, I had a lot of naysayers, a lot of friends, girlfriends that I was dating. They were like, "You're not going to be a comedian. You know that."
Well, fuck them.
Oh yeah, no,
have you talked to them lately?
Sure I do. I've never been that kind of guy. I invite them to the show. I don't tell them.
That's the best revenge, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'll be on the Joe Rogan's and I watch it kind of thing. That's how you get back at him. But no, you just know. I've never been that way. But I mean, a lot of people were not. What are you doing? You're not. I'm in Cocoa, Florida, and my dad worked at the Space Center, the NASA. I'm just a normal little skinny redheaded kid. But everyone starts somewhere, right? I mean, that's if you think of anyone that's ever done anything, whether an astronaut or a famous chef or whoever they've done in their life, president, started somewhere. You know? So you got to just, like you said, in a sense, have the belief in yourself and also the dedication and the idea to really do it. Because you're right, you spend your whole life on it. It's not like my whole life is being Carrot Top, but from day one. You know what I mean? Like, it's something you commit to.
And I mean,
fucking, I had to commit. Look at this. I mean, this is committing right here.
But I do think that's something I see a lot of, like, people are not willing to even take that first step. And that's like this younger generation is a big problem there.
A lot of fear in that. And I was scared to death too. I mean, I got to be honest. I wasn't like this, I'm going to go up and go do stand-up. I was terrified. And there was some times that I didn't do quite well. And there's, even when I got into it, sometimes I didn't do it quite well. I'd be like, dang. So, that's the whole purpose of getting into it. I always just say, to have a good day, you have to have a bad day, right? Yeah. To have a Monday, you got a Friday, you got to have Monday. So there's always you got to have something bad sometimes, and
you don't understand
it's never that bad, right? It's not bombing. If you're bombing, you should get out of the business. But if you're just having a bad night, it's one thing, right? I mean, I've had friends that they bomb every night. Okay, it's not funny. Like bombing once in a while is kind of funny, but if you bomb every night, it's kind of a sign.
Yeah, that makes sense, and as with everything in life, right? You don't know good from bad without having them both exist, right?
Right, sure.
I mean, do you ever have situations where you get invited outside of your residency to perform?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so sometimes those audiences, you don't know if you could be performing.
I get invited places, by the way. You invite me out. You just do that thing. Different. I mean, when I did the road, we would do, Kentucky or wherever, Napa, you name it. We would do shows on the road. But this residency really keeps you tight. It's 240 shows a year. So the time to go and do other things is very limited,
Look, because I want to get into that. That was something I really wanted to ask you. But before we do that, I think we should at least, for anybody watching or listening, if you don't know who our guest is today.
Reba McEntire. Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. Yes, finally.
Oh man,
a long time.
That was a great comeback. We've got Carrot Top on the podcast today.
Now the crowd's like, Reba. Oh, we don't have Reba.
He's way sexier than Reba.
Yeah. Look at these legs. They don't come like this. You got to work them.
So Carrot Top, he's going on 20 years of a residency at the Luxor.
Crazy,
He built his brand throughout the 90s, 2000s. The king of prop comedy. Is anybody even close?
I just don't know if there's any more prop comics out there. Because no one wants to be one. Look at all the shit I went through.
Does it take too much creativity for people?
Too much. Any comics job is tons of creativity. It's just a different type of creativity. Like what I do is different than Jerry Seinfeld does, in a sense, because you can break down one of my jokes or props, and it could be a stand-up joke, like Jerry Seinfeld would say. So it's just a different, and not a lot of my show is props. I mean, I still do props, but I do a lot of stand-up now. The show's evolved enough where I can kind of tell a story or two because I'm old. I've been doing it for a while. So you're like, I grew up with you in the 80s, so that, I'm not kidding like when I'm this young kid. No, I'm old. So it's fun to do jokes about being older. It's fun jokes about being how old this prop is. Oh my God, this thing I built in 1985 or whatever that was. So it allows me to have a little more fun with how long the longevity of the show is actually kind of fun. It's fun. For years I'd lie to people and trick people. When I did colleges, because I wanted to meet people. They'd say, "How old are you?" And I'd say, "How old are you?" And they'd say, 22. I'm 23. I would always just go up 1 year, because if they get close to the year, right, it's an easy way to lie to somebody. If you say, like, "How old are you?" And you're like 30, and you go, "Yeah, 31." So if they think you're around that age, you can get away perfect. Now if you say, "I'm 30," and they go, "Oh, I thought you were like 50," then you're fucked. Yeah. So you can't. Yeah. Yeah. But now that it's the internet, you can't do anything. So everyone knows. I do a joke on the show where I'm old. I'm sure you've Googled it, and everybody laughs. I'm like, yeah, she has Carrot Top. I'm fucking 60.
So I got a little story about that too, because our industry of wine is very much dominated by old people. And so when I first got in, I was in my 20s, and so I lied to everybody and told everybody I was in my 30s, so that I'd get respect from the old guard. And I guarantee you, if I said I'm 24, 25. They'd be like, "This kid, he's green, doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground," and that really helped my career. So everybody out there, take it from Carrot Top and I: lying about your age is good and relevant.
And it's to a certain degree. Yeah.
No, so let's go back to this.
I used to have I had a prop years ago. I forget what the prop was. I would think it was a wine glass with a handle on it for rednecks, so they could drink wine. Like, rednecks aren't going to be like, "Hello, Todd." They're like, "Yeah, what about the Dolphins today?" Something of that nature.
Did you make that prop?
Yeah. I think I did it on the Tonight Show and all that, way back at Regis and
you like crazy glue putting a handle on, or like did you make most of your props?
I still make a lot of. Yeah, we just did a whole bunch for Kiltonia. I made a whole bunch.
Oh, I love the shake weight, and I feel like
I like that. Yeah, that was fun. That was a good a double banger, right? Because you got the one shake weight, and then another. So it was like it builds. It's I used to do something about. You said if I ever go to Napa, I used to have a joke in my show. My girlfriend would say, "Take me to wine country." So I took her to Napa, and then behind me on the big video wall is a picture of Napa Auto Parts. I said, "Take me to wine country." I took her to Napa. She bitched the whole time. And it was like, boom. And it was funny. There was Napa, and there's a Napa in Napa. So that's when I thought of. We were driving in, and I said, "See, we're in Napa." And she's like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, "No, I'm putting that in the show." Like,
that's you. Yeah, you could turn anything into comedy if you have that creative ability to.
Well, yeah, sure.
There's something funny around it.
I never stop, all day long.
You never stop still, just new things all the time.
Or just trying to. You try not. You can't. You can't just turn it off. So when I drive in here, I'm like, "Oh, that's funny," or I see something. There's a great billboard just right here on the corner of this hotel. It says it's for the Sahara Hotel pool. There's a beautiful woman on the billboard, and it says, "Meet me at the pool." And then you get there, and it's all dudes. So you're like, "I'm looking for is Ava? Has anyone seen this woman?" Like, not today. But it's a real billboard, and it's so funny that that we put that in the show, because it's like it's instantly funny and it's real. So
it is real. Yeah, well, that's how they get the guys in there.
All dudes. And it's a great picture because it's just a sea of men in the pool. It's just like it's a great picture. There's no Ava. Ava?
No, it doesn't exist. You're gonna end up getting bachelorette parties, maybe. Bottle rats. Yeah. Whatever they're called.
But that could be another billboard with a sea of men in there and say,
"This is great wine."
Yeah,
we're here.
This is great wine.
We out here.
So I did want to go back to that 240 days you're doing a year. Like that's impressive, and obviously you're probably filtering in new content and whatever else.
Daily, yeah.
It's daily. Yeah. And I mean, man, 20 years though. Like, do you ever feel fatigued about it? Is there How do you? Maybe the better question is, how do you stay excited and motivated
during this? It takes a lot.
Yeah. That's okay.
Other than that, this is tough. Other than the show, it's easy.
See, he's on autopilot.
Just trying to stay awake during this. The show, you never get fatigued. I mean, it's like people ask me. That is a good question because people always, and everyone comes to the show and says that. How do you get so much energy, and how do you do that like every night? And I'm like, I don't know. It's either you're just born with it, or I get excited all day for the show, and then I get down there. The music's on. We're doing a sound check, and there's a vibe, and there's low ground fog, and the thing, and the music, and the slides are going, and people are coming in, and it's show business. It's a great energy. It's hard not to get up for the show. I mean, it's
like, and once you get those first laughs and smiles, when
you step out, it's just the first. And every night's different. Sometimes your voice is different, your head's different, so the whole room's different. So. That's what makes it fun, I think.
Yeah,
it's never really the same every night. Especially with the jokes, you can talk about whatever is in the news that day, whether it be something political. Not I'm get too political, but something just a reference that my escalator didn't work getting up to the thing. Something that people would reference to get, and that then people can tell they're like he's on top of it. He's talking about like today.
Yeah. And what got you into the residency in the first place? That was. Did you want to move to Vegas? Did you?
No, I hated Vegas. I was doing the road, and we had the bus, the whole 9 yards, and doing all over the world, country. We didn't really go Carrot Top in Great Britain, but
I bet it would work.
It would be Great Britain would be fun. Yeah. I'm not sure we'd work in Tokyo, but we music could translate like a lot of my friends do magic and music to go over the world. My guy friend in the Smashing Pumpkins is in Japan tonight. I'm like, I wish I could come back. Japan. Yeah, huge comeback. They're rocking it. Yeah, they're really, really good.
That's great to see.
Yeah, and big stadium.
Yeah, it's not little shows for retired rockers.
No, they're
rocking it. Dude, Bullet with butterfly wings got me through the hard times.
Yeah.
Teen years.
So
we had met. It's weird. He came to my show and announced, and I'm like, Billy Corgan's here, and he walked in and he was like. Dude, that was amazing. He was just a genuine fan, but he was also like so honest with what he walked in. He said, "I got to be honest with you. Like I thought this was going to be really stupid. Even though I'm a fan of yours, I walked in with kind of like this feeling like, oh God, Carrot Top, it's going to be just horrible." And it was so great to see his. I'm like, well, why would you think it was horrible? He says, no, I don't mean to be horrible. It would just be silly and dumb. He says it was really smart. Like the show was clever and smart, and there was a lot of. He thought he's a smart guy. I have a hard time just talking with him. He's very smart. That's why he thought I thought my show was smart. I don't think so. He's being kind. But then we just became best friends of that. He's like, you want to exchange number? And then he's like, you want to be on my podcast? I'm like, sure. He's like, tomorrow? I'm like, tomorrow? I hadn't even met the guy. I flew to LA and did his podcast. We'd never met. We became instant friends. But I see, pumpkins and carrots can get along, right?
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
But to go back to what was your original question about the 200? The residency.
Making the change over to
the residency. Yeah, we would do the road like anything else, and we had I was doing Regis and Kathy Lee show. This is how aging myself, and I did really well. It's a morning show, And this guy walked over, an old guy, and said, "Man, that's amazing. Like." You must kill in Vegas. And I said, I've never been to Vegas. And the guy's like, you've never been to Vegas? I said, no. He's like, never seen a grown man naked? No. I said, no, I've never been to Vegas. And he's like, if I get you a gig, would you do it? And I'm like, I'm a whore, of course I'll do it. So I said, yes. So they got me a gig at Bally's in the little comedy club on I don't know, it was like a Wednesday, Thursday night. I went in there. It was just a little club, so it wasn't like playing anywhere else. It was just a club, so it felt like I was in Charlotte or Omaha. And then I did so well, he said, we're going to put you in the big room on the weekend. And now it's like, 3,000 people, and I've got these two little trunks. And for some reason, I felt really uncomfortable. One, I wasn't good yet at all. Like, not
You were still perfecting
I was very green. No, I was very green. And I was used to playing in front of colleges and people drunk and bong jokes. And now you go in Vegas and there's like a real audience, people that are paying real money to, they just saw a building explode and they want to see something funny. And I was terrified. And I hated it. And then the MGM reached out and said, you want to do a part-time residency. So it was like 12 weeks a year. It grew up to be like 17 weeks. But it was just a week, and then go back on the road week, and we'd go, oh, fuck, got to go back to Vegas. It was just, I don't know what it was, but I didn't do well in Vegas, and I didn't really like the, Vegas is awesome, but it wasn't working for me. I didn't know how to do it. And so we were there for 10 years, and then finally I'm starting to like, okay, I kind of like this Vegas thing, but we were still just doing part-time. And David Copperfield came in and wanted that room full-time. And, Copperfield Carrot Top. So Copperfield took the room. He made me disappear. And then I went to, they said there's a room at the Luxor, and we all went over and looked at it. And it was a great little, awesome, movie theater tiered room. It actually was a movie theater prior to our show being in there. But, the seats going, it was just, instead of booths and tables, which is the worst thing for comedy or any kind of entertainment, band, people sitting at a table eating and watching. You want them sitting in a chair. So changed the whole complexity of the show. And I was reluctant. They said, you want to take the, full-time thing? And I was like, no, I'll do, 12 weeks. And they said, no, you take the whole thing or nothing. So I said to the guy, I'm literally getting on the plane. I said, I'm going to have to think about it. And he goes like, you're not thinking about this. You're going to answer this now before you get on the plane. And I was like, well, I got to think about it. And I'm glad he let me to think about it, but it didn't give me about an hour to think about it. Because I was really terrified. I didn't think I would be able to be the headliner at the Luxor Hotel. There was, there's no other shows there. So I said, all right, I'll do it. And the first year there was also just a learning curve, just almost getting a hit every night, almost. And then finally, you just learned, I just learned how to do Vegas. It just sparked one night. It was like, oh my God, I think I got this. Because it's such a different beast of an audience. It's hard to explain, but they're from everywhere in the world. They're coming from everywhere. They're not specifically there to see you. Like now, I've got more fans that come. I just saw you on whatever. They're going to come specifically to see me. But back then, it was Carlin used to do that bit. He's a good. How many people here came to because they couldn't get into O, kind of thing. And it's kind of true. Like, we tried to get into Blue Man Group, but that was booked, so we're here at Carrot Top. So there is a lot of that. But it's getting better, though. It's getting better because my fan base has been, 40 years of comedy. So I've gotten a bigger fan base than now are specifically going to have Carrot Top shirts on and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So, but it took a long time
to get to
it took a whole long time to get to that comfort zone here. But now I figured it out.
What I think is,
now that I say that, I'm going to F it up.
What I think is really cool about it is, going from kind of a domestic audience, whether that was TV or early in-person shows, but coming to Vegas, it's like you mentioned it, international awareness.
Absolutely.
So like the brand of Carrot Top, the exposure of that. I mean, do you find yourself in every country now? Like people.
Oh yeah,
you must have fans everywhere.
All over the world, which is crazy. We were just talking about that the night about, you kind of forget that people in the country we talk about, they know Carrot Top. Like I'm in their rags like we have, the National Enquirer. I'm really big in one of these countries, and I don't know what it's like Sweden or one of these places, and I'm like a big star in there. Like I'm on every thing on the page of it's Carrot Top, and I don't know if they know
what are they talking about.
I don't know.
You seem to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, but it just must be my look. They like my look. I look like they just like me as a look. I don't think they don't know what I do. Yeah. My people always say, "Yeah, you're huge in Sweden." I said, "I know. I keep hearing about it. I'm huge in Sweden." Jeez. So we got to go do a show in Sweden.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. So, it's interesting when I do. People are like you said. When I did AT&T commercials 4 years ago. And it was the biggest thing in the world. It'd be like now with the progressive ads, they're on every 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So, they came to me and said, want to do collect call commercials. And I was like, this is back. I said, sure. David Arquette was doing it at the time. Then I took over and I did it. I think we had, 5 years and 600 commercials we had done, something crazy. But I would go places to do shows and we'd go to the mall or something. And people would walk up and I was, you talking about recognizable. I couldn't walk anywhere when I was doing the AT&T anywhere. It was stupid. It was people like, the phone got you. So I'm at the airport and these guys they're like, what are you doing in town? Like everywhere I go. I said, oh, I'm doing a show. And they said, a show where? And I mean, at the Civic Center. And they're like, what kind of like a phone show? And I'm like, a phone show? I'm like, what's a phone show? And they go, don't you do the phone? I said, yeah, it's a phone show. We show people how to dial, and they were serious. I swear to God, my life. So I'm like, and I would get that hundreds of times. I would say, I'm here doing a show, and they go, what kind of show? I said, a comedy show. You do comedy? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean,
that's why you became part of the commercials.
I'm not the phone guy. I'm a comic. But a lot of people, like 90% of the people, had no clue. Who's this weirdo doing these phone commercials? And people that knew me were like, that's Carrot Top. It's the guy that does comedy. So it was a great chunk of my life. It was just funny. It was just great. People would do.
They're like telling their friends, like the phone guy is now doing comedy.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah. Which we know a lot of times. We know that, like a lot of the guys that does those programs. He's a stand-up comic, and no one knows. I know that because I know him as a comic, but most people don't know. Oh, he's the progressive guy. He's he's the whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like this guy. I mean, people now think he's like a TikTok influencer first, before a winemaker, but he's actually been making wine for a while.
That is annoying, actually, for me. So like, and I do try to poke fun at it. I'm probably not as good as you as far as the comedic element of when people come up to me and they're like, haven't I seen you on like social media? Like, yeah, but I'm actually a winemaker. Like that's So it is funny, but yeah, that's a somewhat of a parallel. Try to get people to understand what it is that you do for your craft and like, you dedicated your life to it, and then they just like boil it down to like, you're a guy on a commercial. You're like, fuck you.
You're in porn, right? Yes, I am indeed. My mom loves you. I
bet she does.
My grandpa really loves you. Jeez.
Well, and you did have such a unique look just coming out of the gates, and like, I have an affinity for redheads. My wife's a redhead. And, I'm not going to jump your bones or anything, but I do have a couple questions about that. But coming out like, and I still remember like those were the days of like beat you like a redheaded stepchild.
Right, sure.
Like, I mean, there's still like a little bit of shit talking about redheads like back. Yeah. I think that now it's kind of become like this exclusive club if you have natural red hair. But back then, you were like one of the few celebrities that really had just this natural, fiery red hair. Yeah. And so I would imagine that definitely stood out in the commercials. But I'm curious because I'm a dark-haired, like just white guy. Always loved red hair on a woman. As a redhead, do you prefer non-redheaded women?
Yeah, I used to do a bit in my show about that. They said, I have this really hot friend, you should meet her. And she has red hair too, so it's perfect. Like, do they think that we have to breed?
Yeah.
I can
keep the gene pool tight.
Yeah, keep it tight.
Yeah. I mean, I can date a brunette. Do you think? Yeah, no, I think it's I'm not saying I'm not attracted to redheads, but I don't think I've ever had a redheaded girlfriend.
Yeah.
So, But no, that's an old joke I used to do, but it would be great. And she has red hair too, so it's perfect. I mean, we're going to breed,
Yeah.
Well, they're fucking crazy. Just like they're up there with strippers and salon people. The redheaded girls.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I grew up in Florida on a beach, and I had red hair, and everyone was blonde hair and surfer and tan. Yeah. And so, I already stood out like an idiot, on the beach. I can't be on a beach, red hair and freckled skin, and I want to be a blonde, tan guy. I don't have to be this stupid. So it already started when I was a kid. That's how I probably got into being a comedy, because I would self-deprecating and kind of make fun of myself before they could make fun of me.
You probably also needed to consider, like, I definitely can't be doing, like, laying asphalt outside in the sun.
Yeah, no, right. If I ever even go near the sun, people are like, oh, you have protection on? Yes, I'm wearing a condom. I have a condom.
Roofing in Florida and
not good. Redhead on a roofer, not good. You don't see many redheaded roofers. Yeah. That's a good shirt. Redheaded roofer. Yeah.
Just a beacon for skin cancer.
You've got to really be careful with that.
I like how it's also evolved. I mean, along with your comedy too, because I've been hearing that you're getting more into the storytelling. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was COVID that?
Yeah, it really did, because the audience was, they put us in this huge room, and they had, I don't know how many feet, a lot of feet, from 500 feet, roped off, and then they had like 2 people, 3, 2, 4, 2s, all spread out in a theater that was like 2,000 seats. And I remember agreeing to it because I was the first one back in Vegas because I was the only, they couldn't have a band, they couldn't have a circus show because there's too many people close to one another. So they said, you want to come back? And I was like, sure. And they said, oh, you have to wear a mask. I'm like, well, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm a comedian. I don't think that would work, I do sign language. You have to tie your hands behind your back. So I'm like, no. So then they finally came up and said, okay, we're going to let you do it, but we have to have all these rules. And I remember, we just came out, and there was just sound check, it was a big room. And then I said, how many people we have? Like 50 or something. 50 people in a room with 3,000 people. They would only allow, right? But then 100, then it became to 2. And we had like 2. We were like, we think we're like killing it, right? Because had 50 people for about a month. My opening line was, I have more props than people. I mean, literally, I had more props. There was 50 people. I had like 100 props. And so the props were it was such a I've done stadiums. I've done bigger things. But for some reason, it just didn't seem like the props were working in that big room and how they were spread out. So I just started kind of telling stories. And we came up with some great stuff. It's just from my heart. I talked about my dad and whatever, and had a slideshow of, my brother, my dad named my dad worked at NASA.
Yeah.
My brother was born in LA, and he named him after, I said, the building's still there when you land. It says Garrett Aviation. And I said, my dad named my brother Garrett after Garrett Aviation. And then my brother went on to the Air Force Academy and became an F-16 fighter jet pilot.
Okay.
And the crowd's like, wow. And I show a picture. I said, then my dad named me Scott because he was taking a shit. Scott Tissue. And it was just like a great build story, self-deprecating, but also like, well, true, his dad gets Garrett Aviation, I get, Scott, And so it just became kind of cool to start just telling stories.
Yeah.
And then it just then I just evolved, and I broke my leg snowboarding because I look like Shaun White, but I'm not Shaun White. And I thought I could do it. And I was on a knee scooter for like 5-6 months, and I had the same thing. So
this is during COVID?
No, I had to just do stand-up again. I couldn't run around, so I just sat on my knee scooter and and it was great. The crowds went apeshit. They just loved it.
So you just, as a prop, you built it into the program.
Yeah. So it really evolved.
How many props? Do you have like a set number that you usually put?
Oh, I've got a warehouse full, and then I've got a stage full, but I interchange them sometimes because I've got too many. Because you want to do new ones, so I'm always trying to get new ones and you have to anyhow, right? Because the crowd wants them. But you get TV shows, they want you back. You can't do this. The Kill Tony, you can't do the same shit, so you got to come up with new stuff. So I used to do that with Regis. I would have they're called Regis jokes, and I would just think of anything that would be a Regis, a family morning show, funny, and then I'd think of Leno ones that were a little more irreverent. So now I'm thinking of Kill Tony ones that are really irreverent and raunchy, and or not even that clever. I made one last week.
The boundaries with that show, you can go as far.
Right, pretty much, yes. But you want it to be clever because he tried to give me shit on this last one. He says I was doing my stuff because he begged me, please bring some of your props. I'm doing some stuff. He said, I'm starting to realize you can just take 2 items and duct tape them together and have a Carrot Top thing. And I said, it's not duct taping 2 things together. I said, what are you talking, you dumb? I said, you fuckhead. I called him a fuckhead. No, I said, it's not that. I said, let me give you an example. And I had a toilet paper dispenser, right? A lot of people like it over the roll.
Yeah.
Some people like it under. I said, well, you just made this, so you go, if you want over, it goes over. If you want under, you flip it, and it goes under. And the whole crowd's like, oh. I said, that's not duct taping 2 things together. That's using your brain, you fuck, right? It's clever. It's an actual invention.
Put Tony in his
then he's
place.
like, no, I know I did. I'm like, he said, no, you're right. I said, that's not duct taping 2 things together.
That's
so
great.
Then he's like, damn, you're right. That's really clever. I'm like, yes. This stuff's deeper than what you give me credit for. Then later did a couple more. He's like, see, that's like there was one that guys get mad and they punch a wall, right? And I've never done that. I've never been that mad at a wall to punch one. But one of my crew guys back there when I was all taped up, and he's always in trouble with something. I said, what did you do to your hand? And he says, yeah. I said, would you fall? He goes, no, I punched the fucking wall. I said, you punched the wall. I said, why would you punch a wall? You've never punched a wall? I said, no. And he's like, well, I was still mad. I punched the wall and I broke my hand. So I said, so I was just thinking there's got to be a prop there. So I got a beer. I said they should make a beer with a stud finder on it. So right for you're drinking, you're drunk, you're like, you mother, nowhere to punch. And I just did it on Kill Tony. He was like, oh, and is he there? How do you come up? I said, because it's not two things duct taped together. It's an invention.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's, yeah.
I mean, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, yeah, the stud. Like you.
Well, then I
would never punch a wall.
Triple H next to me, the wrestler. So then I, of course, had 3 jokes at him because oh shit, it works. You know, he's a fucking stud. He's like 6'9". So this thing's broken.
Because I love this story because I was actually thinking, do you have any patents? Like with
we've had too many. We brought that up at the thing where too many times I've been ripped off, and I wish we'd had patents on that, but I should have. Yeah, no.
What would you have patented?
Oh, I have a whole bunch of them. I mean, the toilet paper one for sure. I had a toilet seat that would light up so guys could seat at night. They have that now.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I had a baseball bat when you'd swing it to make a crack noise. So, and Whammo makes that. I made that. Maybe one of my first jokes in the '90s. It was a bat when you swing it. I had a little hinge and a piece of wood, and you go like that. And,
I had one growing up.
Yeah, I made that with wood. And
thank you.
And a screw. I made it in my garage in Charlotte. Like literally, that's how long it was. And there's been a few more. I mean, there's been probably a whole bunch that could have actually become
could have patented them.
Items like those 3 and would I wouldn't have to be here right now if I had that. If I had the toilet seat and the toilet paper dispenser. Like that's the guy that did the toilet paper dispenser. No.
Well, I did want to ask about that because I think a lot of people that are thinking about if they want to get into being in comedy or being in show business in general, especially when you have something so stable like a residency, like financially, is it beneficial or more beneficial than touring? Are you making more money by having stability here?
It's kind of a bit of both. I mean, you can make a lot of money on the road. But with my show, is a lot of stuff, a lot of production we bring. So it's like bringing a band. I mean, it's like Motley Crue's coming. We have the staging, the thing, the props, the lights, the so it's a lot more involved getting me into Omaha than it would be getting Jim Gaffigan. They fly him in, he does his thing and flies out. Yeah. So our show's a little more production value to it. So it's a traveling show. When we do go on the road, whereas Vegas, we're lucky we're here, but you still make good money.
Well, that's good. I think that if I've never done this, I know Chris has. Chris has actually gone out and tried his hand at stand up.
Oh, nice.
That went really well.
Were you a consistent bomber like he was talking about?
So okay, well, how the story goes is that I was actually acting in LA and I was going to acting school and I was friends with a comic and. Just by playing around in class and stuff like that, he's like, you should do stand up. Then once he said that, I immediately felt the fear. Yeah. And I was like, well, now I got to do this because I'm scared of it. And I was just was told like face your fears. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. So kind of just did like an open mic at Miyagi's on Sunset, and then I got my first show at M-Bar where I was actually on like a poster, way down below, not headlining or anything, and never completely bombed. Well, you never came to any of my shows. You would have known.
He killed. You were even there.
But I mean, I tried to crack at, took a crack at just sitting there and writing. But I do love because what I've heard from you was like I love this idea. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but you never really like sit down and write. And that's how I try to attack it. And I love this idea of you just kind of do you just go spontaneous, like what you see or what captures.
Yeah, and I never have sat down and written a joke ever since my beginning of life. Yeah, never. I don't know. That's just my process. You hear people have different ways. I have friends that they said I'm going to sit this weekend. I'm going to write. I'm like, what are you going to write? And they're like you just sit down and I'm going to start writing like that. Maybe that works for them. They just do something or read a paper. I don't. I just wake up, or if I'm on the plane, read the paper, then I might think of something, or just see someone do something stupid on the plane, and my gut's going in the show. That's more my observational.
Yeah.
You know, like the guy punched the wall. I said, okay, there's something there, but I wouldn't have sat down and like, what happened to me? A beer with a thing? It wouldn't process. You know, I just think of stuff usually, and sometimes during the show, it's weird. If you get a good crowd. We had a great crowd last night. They were just so live. It just kind of, you just start ad-libbing and kind of throwing out stuff that you wouldn't normally like say, because you're just so comfortable.
Yeah.
That you're not worrying about it not working, which you never do.
Do you ever get complaints? I mean, do they, like, if there is a complaint, like somebody's offended by one of your jokes?
I don't know how to read. I don't know if anyone's getting me.
So good. You just don't give a shit.
No, I don't give a shit. I even say that too. I write letters. We don't read them. So
that's how I am too. That's the best way to be.
I don't read anything about me. No, literally. You think I'm kidding? I don't read any review. I read nothing. It all started early on when I would, and it was just terror. You know, they just. You know, I did a movie and they just ripped it to shreds, and I'm like, you know, and I'm young and I never been in a movie, but I was like, oh man, people just that's just there's always, you know, even when I do these shows like Rogan or Tony, you know, like, the comments are so good, and they'll say, well, you know, there's always a few. I see that, but no, see, that's what I mean. The few, like,
yeah.
I went on there, I couldn't have done any better. It's the best show I think I've ever done.
Yeah.
And then there's like two people like, you know, it's such hack. I'm like, there's always going to be that. So you're like, why even read them?
Yeah.
And people are so, not everybody, but like I was telling my crew tonight, I could be. Like the Super Bowl, eating a hot dog, and someone will post, "Why, you know, why are you eating chicken?" It would be that's stupid. Like, are they not looking at the fucking thing? Like, I mean, I get it all the time.
Yeah.
I'll do some joke about, you know, meatloaf, and they'll say, "How dare you eat meat?" You know, something like that. It's just like, what the
fuck is wrong?
So I don't read any comment.
Yeah.
I never ever. I mean, literally, I did one day. It was one of the best ones I've ever had. It's framed in my house, in my office in Florida. It says. It was at the L.A., and I did this big show at the Wiltern Theater. It was a big deal. And it was like the L.A. Times, and they came out and they reviewed the show. And it says, you know, Carrot Top, da-da-da. It's a big column up. And I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, it's L.A., here we go. So I read it. And it's so backwards, like, you know, this is, you know, I can't believe I'm saying this, is what he started. He says, all right, I'm probably going to get fired for saying this, and my coworkers will never talk to me again. That's how it starts out. So I'm like, he must have liked it. But that show that I saw tonight was unbelievable. It was not only topical, funny, clever, spot on, tight, everything, all the way then. He says, but I can't believe I'm actually saying these words, but I enjoyed myself at the Carrot Top show. He could never once just say the whole fucking thing. He would never just say that was he doing but, and then so it was a great review, but it was also like so backhanded that it was like I had to frame it. I'm like, this has been highlighted that, you know, but I can't believe I'm saying this.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm gonna have to start framing some of the
friends
reviews.
hate me, but you know, that kind of thing. I always hated this guy, but it was good.
So I was thinking, you were mentioning movies, and so when I was, you know, growing up, there were really two comedians that really appealed to me, right? And that was like you and Pauly Shore.
Oh Jesus! You didn't have any better options than that? Jesus! Didn't you have George Carlin and Richard Pryor and Buddy Hackett?
So, but like Pauly Shore was like preteen, right?
Yeah.
Like, and even my kids started watching some of the old movies
Yeah.
of his when they were like 11, 12, 13, because they're kind of cute, they're kind of innocent.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
And they kind of, I think there's something so goofy about how
Pauly's movies were good. They're very fun.
And so then I was saying with Chris and the comedy shows in LA, and I think Pauly Shore's mom has a theater or has a club there. But so you've acted with him?
Yes.
And
Speaking of porn,
are you friends?
we're very close friends. Yes.
Did he do porn?
No.
Okay.
I hope not. I have done a little bit. A little bit.
So everybody after this podcast can be like, you know, Carrot Top leaked sex tape.
Yeah, it's called the film is called Carrot Juice. Coming soon to the theater. No, I never did that. But no, Pauly and I have been friends for years and years. Yeah, all the way back to MTV days. We were friends when we did the half hour, or what do they call those, on the spring breaks on the beach and all that.
See, that was the big thing for us. MTV was like the thing to watch. And
it was. And I got a lot of work on that. You know, they always had those half hour comedy shows and the spring break things. I was always on with, you know, the Chili Peppers or whoever the big bands were. Yeah. So it was always it was big time press, you know. Promotion.
So it was friendship with Pauly Shore, and
we've always.
You guys never had a little competition?
No, he tries to do that as a joke. I think he performs all the time. He says, "Enough with Carrot Top, get his stupid billboards out of Vegas. It's my turn to take over this town." But he does it. I think I don't ever ask if he really meant it or not. But yeah,
I doubt he does. That's
but Pauly's Pauly. He's fun.
That's great, and he's still touring though. I didn't know that.
I think he's in a home. No, I think he's
at a home.
In a home. He's in a home. He's in a home.
In a home.
He's in a home. He's got a robe on, and they're feeding him apple juice right now.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's party time.
Pauly, it's party time, Pauly. How's Carrot Top doing?
Pauly
good. Yeah, I know Pauly's a good guy.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm sure there's a group that you guys can all get together and just like come up with great content and comedy, but also looking back on the great times you guys already built behind you.
No, there's nothing worse than hanging out with comics, though. We got to be honest. No one wants to hang out with comics. If there's a whole bunch of comics in the room, everyone is sitting there thinking, "I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. No, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that." You know, it's like all you think about. You know, a bunch of room full of comics all want to take the same bit, but.
I mean, after you've done something for so long and kind of, you know, perfected and obviously grown it, you've grown what you've done from going to prop comedy to being able to execute really like high level stand up. So in effect, you're a doctorate, right?
Okay.
I don't have a degree in anything, but so I don't believe you need one. But I think that if you worked for a long enough time in any craft, you'd be a plumber. You become a doctor of that craft.
Yeah,
and so I think that's an interesting way to like view things. Where you know that generation of comics, like if they're still doing it, you're a fucking doctor in comedy.
I like that. Yeah, I like it. I'll take it. We'll be knighted like a Sir Carrot Top.
Yeah. I'm still waiting to be a doctor. I'd probably be a better gynecologist than anything else. Sorry, Chad.
The room didn't feel the same way.
I know. I got quiet. We got quiet. Where are you?
I think they felt the same.
So I am curious too about ritual. So you know what you do before a show. What you know, like do you have? Like I don't even think I have one before I go up and do a crowd, and because I mean we're ours are pretty boring, right? Like, people aren't coming in thinking they're going to get entertainment. They're thinking they're going to get food and wine.
Right.
And so I've realized they don't want data. They don't want details of how we make the wine. They want stories.
Sure.
And that helped me through COVID, like learning, like, okay, how do I entertain? And like, I turned back to comedy, and I'm like, got to have a couple jokes. And I'm not by any means a good comedian, but when you're talking to a bunch of like, middle-aged kind of, just regular people, then there's something that I can find that resonates with them that's funny. And so that became important, but I don't really have a ritual. So I was wondering.
I don't really have I don't do what Bill Maher does before his show.
What does Bill Maher do?
Oh, you don't know? It's like
smoke a bunch of weed.
No,
jerk.
Are you serious?
That's what he says before every show.
What's going on?
No, he just says before every show he jerks him to mellow him out. You're not supposed to. Like a fighter can't do that. They have sex for like a week, right? They have to stay. They can't. They're not allowed to do anything. Fighters.
That's what they say. Well,
that's why he said he would say on comic. I mean, that's the first thing we do. But no, I don't have much of a ritual, honestly. I just get down to the show. I have a few things in my head that I might want to try, go over. But there's no time to go over it. We really are. We go in and they're setting up. I get time for a sound check, and then I might, if I have something that needs to be rehearsed with a sound cue or a video wall thing, we run through it once, and then that's it. I just added one last night. I was like, I said, and I don't do a lot of political stuff. I said we did a thing about Trump and Biden, how that was nice that they brought them together, and there's a picture of them shaking hands in front of a fire. I said, look at that picture again. Isn't that nice? And last night, the first night, the crowd, I said, yeah, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party shaking hands. Don't we need more of that? And last night, they all were like, yay. And I said, but remember, because that's next year's going to be 3 parties. It's going to be the Republican Party, and the logo comes up, the Democratic Party, and then the after party, and then it's a picture of Charlie Sheen. And it just leveled. But we had to get in there and kind of practice the beats of it. Yeah. But that would be something that I would go in and then once that sound check's over, then it's meet and greet, and then I get dressed, and there's no real ritual. I just kind of go over in my head, kind of, even though I know the show. I'll just kind of look over the outline a little bit. The crew comes in, we do a little shot of Crown Royal just to get that's our ceremonial thing. Or just open your throat, get you warmed up a little bit, something. You hear music at show business, it's time to go rock and roll.
Yeah. Crown Royal, all right.
A little Crown Royal, just a shot. We don't do crazy.
That was one thing my dad did teach me before going up in front of a crowd. It was always a shot of tequila for him.
Yeah,
and that's something I have not carried forward, but I probably should. I like the vocal.
It doesn't even really change anything for me. It's just more ceremonial kind of. We just do it. Hey, Wednesday night, cheers, or to whoever, maybe to someone's birthday or someone passed away. We do something. Cheers to whatever.
Yeah.
Bring the crew together.
Yeah.
And then we do an hour prayer, and then
an hour.
Yeah.
An hour prayer with your congregation.
Please let us do well tonight.
Amen.
Yes.
And nobody uses that theater for anything else. That's your spot.
I do like tractor pulling. No, it's just a little theater. Yeah, I think there's a review show after mine. Girls fantasy.
Oh, okay. Right.
So there's naked girls all backstage.
That must suck to walk off stage too.
Yeah, and they're like family to me. I see them every night. But when I have guests come, they're like, "There's a naked girl." I'm like, "Don't get over here. Leave them. Don't go that way. I'm going to get in trouble. A curtain. Don't go past this line. There's women over there."
Have you driven through Las Vegas? You'll see billboards of naked girls everywhere. It's fun. Still don't understand why nudity is so frowned upon. Seems pretty natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad. So was there a point?
Is this really the end? Unbelievable. Find out next week.